Good morning, students. Today, in this last part of the chapter, meal planning for the family, we move to what is a therapeutic diet and how is it useful, or what must we include for a patient suffering from fever, diarrhea, or diabetes in the family. So, to begin with, what is a therapeutic diet? We can say it is a modified or changed normal diet because a person is suffering from a particular disease or the health conditions are not normal. Again, I repeat, a therapeutic diet can be said to be a modified normal diet to correct or when correct the health conditions of a person who is unwell. So we find that people need a therapeutic diet. Sometimes salt, normal salt intake has to be restricted, sugar to be restricted, calorie requirements are to be restricted. Then the consistency of food, that means it should be more liquidy, more soft. The food cooked should be soft. So all these changes have to be made to the normal diet so that the person can become healthy again. So today we see what all modifications or what all changes can be made in a therapeutic diet. First one, consistency. That is, the food consistency has to be changed. That is, during illness, a person may be given either a clear liquid diet, full liquid diet, or soft diet. When we say a clear fluid diet, we mean that the person is on saline or glucose and unable to eat much through the mouth, and some of the clear liquid water that can be given to a patient would include whey water or water that we get after making paneer, coconut water, clear soup, fruit juice, and so on, and even saline. If the person has undergone surgery, etc., they are generally given a clear fluid diet. And sometimes it can be intravenous when it is given in the form of saline. The second type of consistency is full liquid diet, which would include milk, soup, and a low fiber content. Because during illness, we control the fiber content. Because too much fiber in the diet may cause loose motion to the patient. So a low fiber diet means a change in consistency is generally given to patients. Soft diet is also given to a person after surgery, vomiting, loose motion, diarrhea. That means in small quantities, at intervals, not at one go, but at intervals, well cooked plain dal, khichdi, potato, rice, vegetable puree, all this can be given in the form of soft diet. Then we next move on to the next factor which is there when we give a therapeutic diet. Frequency of feeding. We don't give too much food at one go to a patient when he is ill. The patient has to be given frequently. That is, a small quantity of food has to be given frequently at an interval of 2 to 3 hours to the patient. Then the next change that is made in a therapeutic diet is food and nutrient content. That is water, coconut water, juice. All this will definitely give fluid to the body, which is lost during illness, like during fever, etc. Fruits, vegetables are needed for vitamins, minerals, milk, soft cooked egg, simple fish, chicken, thin dal. So what we have done, what we find is that there should not be any nutritional deficiency. That is, the immune system in the body should be strong. Hence, food has to be chosen which will keep the immune system strong. And for this, enough of soup, juices, fruits, vegetables which will be providing vitamins and minerals to the body must be included. There should be enough carbohydrates and energy so that during the process of consumption, we find it will compensate the body for the loss of energy. Electrolyte losses also take place in cases of diarrhea, vomiting. So, for this, oral rehydration solution has to be given. It could be homemade or we could buy it from the market. The packets can be bought from the market, the electrolyte solutions. Then, methods of cooking therapeutic meals also has to be looked into. It should be a simple method of cooking where we should use methods like steaming, boiling in minimum quantity of water, because too much cooking will destroy the nutrients, and avoid using too much of fats and oils. That because the person will not be able to digest it. So these are the changes which we make to the normal diet and call it a therapeutic diet, which is given to a patient when he or she is unwell. That is, we change the consistency, we change the frequency of eating, then the food and the nutrient content, and also the method of cooking. Now, next, moving on to the illnesses, let's take it up one by one. Different diets are prescribed for patients suffering from different diseases. Like if a patient is suffering, let's begin with diarrhea. If a patient is suffering from diarrhea, let us see what sort of a diet should be given. Diarrhea, as we know, means that the patient is frequently passing stool, and as a result of this, there is huge water loss from the body. So he gets dehydrated, the skin becomes dry, the mouth feels very dry, uncomfortable. So in this case, when dehydration has taken place, what we find is the patient needs to be given, in case of acute diarrhea or it could be chronic diarrhea, the diet that the patient has to be given is, first and foremost, is water. Water content has to be increased in the body because huge loss of water has taken place. So consumption of liquids, fluids like ORS, Nimbu Pani, clear soup, hot drinks should be avoided. But we can give the patient what you call Nimbu Pani, electrolyte, or homemade ORS, clear soup at room temperature. But hot liquids are not to be given, as this will increase diarrhea. Protein foods which are easily digestible, like moong dal water can be given, small amount of paneer can be given. Fatty foods have to be restricted, not to be given at all. Water soluble vitamins need to be replenished or given in good quantity, which the patient can get through fresh lemon juice with salt and sugar, mashed bananas, mashed potatoes, boiled potatoes, steamed chicken, then curd, very good source of good probiotic bacteria for a diarrhea patient. So in this way, the food that can be included for a diarrhea patient is moong dal, rice, khichdi, vegetable soup, banana, stewed apples, curd, dahi for the diarrhea patient. So these are the things we can keep in mind to give to a patient who's suffering from either acute or chronic diarrhea. Moving on to the next disease that we have, that is fever. If a person is suffering from fever, it means that the body temperature has gone up. And this body temperature, I don't know if you remember, you may have studied in your junior classes in biology, is controlled by the thyroid gland. So the person may complain of headache, flushing, shivering, high body temperature, and confusion. Sometimes convulsions can also take place. So during this time, what sort of a diet should be given to a person? The calorie requirement increases. The more the fever, the more the person needs calories in his body. And hence this can be provided through softly cooked cereal, that is dals, rice. We can make a simple custard preparation, bread, biscuit, chapatis, potatoes can be given cooked in a simple manner. The proteins which are easily digestible like dal soup, egg preparation, which will provide protein to the body because the patient has to recover his strength. Fats and oils to be restricted to the minimum amount. Vitamins like C and B for healing and recovery through fruit juice and milk preparations must be given. Minerals like sodium to be given. The quantity of salt, however, should not be too much. Iron is needed to check anemia. That needs to be added through green leafy vegetables, plenty of water and fluids so that the patient doesn't suffer from dehydration. So all these needs to be given to the patient suffering from fever. Finally, we move to the type of diet which needs to be given to a patient suffering from diabetes. Diabetes, as we all know, is a disease caused because insulin is secreted less. The hormone insulin is secreted less by the pancreas, as a result of which the body cannot absorb enough glucose. And this glucose is passed out either through the urine, and we find that the person starts suffering from weight loss, hunger, tiredness, and excessive thirst. He constantly becomes thirsty and huge urine, what we call excretion, takes place. Excessive urine, thirst, tiredness are symptoms of a person suffering from diabetes. In this case, what sort of a diet needs to be given to a diabetic patient? The calories and energy requirements of a diabetic patient will definitely depend upon how much work, physical work does he do. Because lower calorie intake will make the person weak, while high sugar content food will cause his high blood pressure to rise. So as a result of this, sweets have to be controlled, but whole grain, that is not soft grain but which contains a lot of fiber, can be had by the diabetic patient to remain healthy. So calories and energy requirements fully depend upon the physical activity. Proteins like eggs, milk, chicken, fish can be had in definite amounts, not unlimited. Vitamin requirements can be made by consuming carrots, pumpkins, papayas for vitamin A to B vitamin requirements. Then minerals, calcium, very important, can be got from consuming milk and milk products, green leafy vegetables. Water and roughage, again, very important for the diabetic patient. So for this reason, tea, coffee, soups can be added in the diet. Eat fruit and fruit juice containing fibers, but not too much of sugar. So all the time, the diabetic has to keep a watch on his or her sugar level. Otherwise, it will affect the kidneys because the kidneys will not be able to remove it. So for this reason, the normal blood sugar level is 100 mg per 100 ml, which should be maintained by a diabetic patient through the therapeutic diet. With this, we finish the last part of this chapter, meal planning for the family. Thank you, students.